Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Monday edition of Fox and Talk. I'm Ellen McNamara.
And I'm Marc Martinez. Thanks for joining us. We got a couple of topics today we're going to hit on. We're going to talk first, though, about the H-1B visas. The Trump administration really recently announced and surprised a lot of people that they were going to be charging $100,000 per visa, which is going to impact a lot of employees, a lot of employers, the tech industry.
Yeah.
So we've got someone on here to talk to us about this. He is Susham Modi. He is a former law professor and current immigration attorney at the Modi law firm. Sir, did this announcement surprise you? What are the effects that it's having right now?
Thank you for having me on. This is a very large surprise. I don't think we've seen a change like this in H-1B advanced skill workers for decades. And what we're talking about here is not just 100,000. The proposals that they're trying to have an effect is 100,000 per employee, per person.
Wow. So just when this was announced on Friday, were you getting calls about this?
Yeah, so, we've seen a huge amount of individuals scared on multiple levels, including current H-1B holders. Can they travel outside the U.S. to visit their family members? How are employers going to react and scale in the future? And how much is that going to affect their bottom line? So those are just two of the ways. And then third, we're part of American Immigration Lawyers Association as well as others. And I think they're going to see a lot of litigation, a lot of lawsuits against this and on several different grounds.
Can you explain to us, maybe for people who aren't familiar how this works, who gets the H-1B visas, primarily who are these folks, and what is the current status, or how do they currently get an H-1B visa? I believe it's by a lottery and then typically just some administrative fees that they require to pay, correct?
That's correct. So if we take a step back, who is the H-1Bs for? They're for advanced skill workers. So a lot of the times we're talking about the cream of the crop from around the world. And the types of professions are engineers, doctors, scientists, professors. So we're talking about some of the cream of the crop here in working in these fields and a lot of the hard sciences. In terms of the process, you're absolutely correct. The first is a registration, often known as the lottery in slang, and there's a cap. There's actually only a limited number of new H-1Bs allowed per year. On that issue, actually, I think one of the reasons the Trump administration wants to do this is to have more workers in the U.S., like Americans being employed. But we have to understand just the lottery itself, there's only 65,000 allowed per year by an additional 20,000 if you have a master's. And you're looking at over what in the U.S. adult, worker market is about 200 million people. So this is maybe 2.5% of the U.S. population that we're really trying to talk about here. And that's including the renewals. That's just the new individuals are just about only 85,000 a year. So that's the first step, is the registration or lottery. And then if people are lucky enough to get into that, then the employer has to petition you for the H-1B itself.
Yeah, I mean, I know that was kind of the argument to prioritize Americans. That is what the administration has said. Okay, so let's say that this does go into effect. I mean, are we going to lose, doctors and engineers from these other countries? And ultimately, will America suffer because of it, in your opinion?
Yeah, first, I think everybody would agree America's on the leading edge of tech, innovation, AI. And a lot of the individuals that are bringing that lead, again, is the cream of the crop. They've gone to the best schools around the world and working for U.S. corporations here. So I think that could have a huge, significant impact. Number two, I don't think this is over, though. I think you're going to see lawsuits go into federal court, and federal judges may likely put this on hold because it goes against congressional intent. So it's Congress that creates laws, not the executive branch. The executive branch is supposed to execute the laws. So there's multiple reasons here why this would be against congressional intent, which I could get into next if you'd like.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to touch back on what you were talking about when you were saying getting calls. How concerned are people, especially if they were going to be traveling out of the country? I believe some of the big employers have told their workers that are on H-1B visas not to leave the country if you're in the country and to try to delay travel if you can until this is all sort of cleared up. Is that what you're hearing?
That's definitely what we're hearing. So, a lot of the employers are letting their employees know not to travel until this is cleared up, because even in the first memo from the administration, it wasn't clear on whether it applies to individuals outside the US. I mean, one quick clarification here is when we talk about H-1B visas, there's actually a difference between H-1B status, which is while you're in the US, like trying to change status, an H-1B visa, which can only be applied outside the US. So what happens when individuals go to renew their visa to travel? Is it applying to them or not? Now, the second memo seems to be from the White House saying it doesn't apply to those individuals leaving outside the US, but there's so much confusion and lack of clarification between the visa versus the status that I think a lot of individuals are being, and rightfully so, more on the conservative side in trying not to travel if they don't need to right now.
On top of this proposal, the $100,000 fee, there was another proposal, a gold card. And Trump was saying that he wanted to create a gold card where there would be a pathway to basically citizenship, where you could pay $1 million to basically speed up the process to become a citizen. Did you get calls about this at all? Or, I mean, is this outlandish, or is this something that is feasible in your opinion?
So our law firm works on a lot of investor visas, and there's two major types of investor visas. There's EB-5 and E-2. Now, again, Congress creates these laws for under the Immigration Nationality Act in these investor visas. So I think we have another issue here where the Trump administration cannot just unilaterally say, hey, we have a whole new mechanism and we're going to eviscerate EB-5s and E-2s that Congress has created. And so I think this also will be sued upon, because we have to imagine, look how many people are in the steps right now for those other types of pathways that are still on the books. They're rightfully applying for those pathways. But then you have this whole new procedure coming out. And so I think you're going to see lawsuits on the Trump gold visa, gold card as well. Really, you can't create, you've seen this with DACA, for example, with the Obama administration. DACA wasn't even a status. That's the way they tried to get around this issue. It was just a way to use enforcement priorities. Here, the Trump administration is actually trying to give green cards, status, permanent residency. And I think that's going to fly in the face of congressional intent.
And when we talk about these workers, again, highly skilled workers is who we're talking about primarily. A lot of these big tech corporations and engineering companies, they need that brain power. And unfortunately, they have found, looking for highly skilled workers to be a challenge in many areas in the country. So you can't just replace these folks really quickly if they do have to go back or can't pay that $100,000. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. And I think, on both sides of the aisle, we could agree maybe our educational system is failing us. We don't have the individuals that can fulfill these roles. They're very high-end roles in engineering, doctors, etc. And that's going to take time to revamp our educational system. So there is going to be a huge lack here. Now, how companies overcome that lack, whether it's more remote workers or looking at other paths, that's what we're getting a lot of questions about now. There's other ways that companies could hire other than H-1B. So for example, there's individuals of extraordinary ability where you can self-petition for a green card. That could be a way to look into. Another is an L visa, an intra-company transfer visa. So if they worked for the parent company abroad for a year, within the last 3 years, and they're either advanced skill workers or executives, and advanced skill workers parallels a lot with H-1Bs, then that could be another way around it as well. So there's going to be a lot that employers need to look at if it goes into effect. On the other end of the spectrum, I think, again, it may likely not go into effect because of lawsuits.
Well, I know this has been a topic that has kind of, frankly, it has divided the Trump administration, or people who support the administration anyway. You had Elon Musk, you had Vivek Ramaswamy, who were big supporters of these visas. And then you have diehard MAGA who were kind of not in favor of it necessarily. So yeah, 65,000 H-1B visas have been granted annually. And so, I mean, it does affect a lot of people and frankly, a lot of companies, a lot of very important companies throughout America.
Yeah, and if you're somebody who has one of these, it does seem so confusing and unclear right now. You probably, even though you may not want to, no offense to you, sir, but you probably have to contact an attorney to figure out how to deal with this or what you should do.
I think it's going to be really important to contact a skilled immigration attorney because you need to look at not only can you travel or not, but then also where is the lawsuits going on this? You know, what have the courts said? Have they put it on hold, like moving forward or not? And then number three, are there other paths to circumvent it, like we hinted on? Extraordinary ability petitions, L visas, etc. And that's just on the H-1B issue. There's a whole another issue on, as you correctly pointed out, on the Trump Gold Card and other investment visas like the EB-5 and E-2.
And we have about a minute left. We do have a question here from Ashley, a comment also. She's saying this also affects students who come to America to study and intend to work here. Can you address that real quick?
Yes, precisely. So a lot of students come here and then they may get an advanced degree, like engineering, for example, and then they're going to be on OPT. Which is like a way to work after they graduate for a very short amount of time, a year or maybe two if it's STEM. But then they have to have an employer to sponsor them. And one of the biggest mechanisms was H-1B. So this is going to impact students in terms of like, what is their path going to be after they graduate? You know, and there's other things to look at here as well. Like, do they go to additional schooling? Do they that they want to do? Do they end up wanting to find this extraordinary ability path? And again, they should also monitor the federal lawsuits should they come down the road soon about this issue.
Yeah, a lot to consider. And again, contact an attorney, an immigration attorney, if you do have questions.
Right. Yeah, because there's just, again, a lot of uncertainty and things could change on a daily basis or even sooner than that. So Susham Modi, thank you so much. Former law professor, current immigration attorney. I know you're going to be very busy handling a lot of phone calls and emails from clients. That's for sure. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right, we have another segment. This is going to be a fun one coming up.
Yes.
We're talking to a local guy who's a Lego builder. He's making a living doing this now.
I know. And he has a huge following, huge social media following on TikTok, on Instagram. I said my 7-year-old son is going to be very jealous that we are going to have him in-house and we're going to be talking to him.
All right, welcome back to Fox 10 Talks. And as promised, we are joined by Harrison Woodward. And Harrison, Ellen was talking about this as we went to break. You are now making a living building Lego.
Right.
You didn't build this one, just to point that
That's
out.
what I asked when I got here. I'm like, who built this?
How did this get started?
So this got started about a year and a half ago. Well, let's go back a little further. I got back into Lego as an adult about 4 years ago. I got one for my 22nd birthday. My aunt got me a set, and that's what kind of kicked off my love for it again. I used to build when I was a child, and then I kind of grew out of it, and then I got back into it, and like I started my channel about a year and a half ago, just kind of doing different TikTok trends and just trying to show off Legos and make it cool.
And your videos though are extremely effective.
Yeah.
And so how did you know how to do that and how to make them effective? Because we have all seen long videos of, someone starts it and it could take them 40 minutes
Right.
to build them. And frankly, we don't have time to watch a 40-minute
You're
video.
so fast.
Yeah.
There's a payoff. How did you
Exactly.
realize that we need to do this a little bit quicker?
I just decided to make what I wanted to watch, and that's the exact same thing I thought. I see a lot of other different Lego creators make their build videos, and they're 8-9 minutes long, and I'd find myself kind of tuning out after
Right.
like 2 minutes in. So I'm like, why don't I just shorten it and make it all faster? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'll usually keep them under 3 minutes, but usually in the 1 to 2 minute range. But I also wanted to make it a little more interactive, whereas a lot of my videos I actually go to the store,
Right.
and I show off my car. There's a little bit of an automotive element too to my channel, because I know a lot of people that watch like my car, comment on my car, and so I make sure to include that, and just kind of like, it's not just me in my apartment,
Right.
building,
That's so
cool. Now-
and there is yeah, that is my
We had a
place.
photographer come out to your place the other day, and
Yeah.
your first video, though, that thing went crazy. How many views did you get on that first one?
That one got 15 million.
That is
That was my
insane.
first upload.
Really?
At that
Yes.
point, you're like, this is huge. I got
Yeah.
to do something with this.
And the thing too is that was a trend that people were showing off their collections, and it was primarily a lot of girls were showing off their purses, and I was like, well, I've got these Legos. I'm like, I haven't seen anyone do it with Lego, and that's what I did, and I think that's why it really blew up.
Do you ever worry? I mean, because how often do you have to put something out to keep the engagement going with people who follow you? Because again, you've got 550,000 or 575,000 followers on TikTok and 312,000 on Instagram as of a couple of hours ago.
Yeah.
How do you keep that engagement going? Are you going to run out of sets to build?
Well, that's something I don't think I'm ever going to run out. Lego is releasing more sets than ever now. I mean, they used to release a few big sets a year. Now they're releasing a few big sets a month. I mean, so I'm not too worried about the sets running out. I'm very consistent. I upload at least usually 5 to 7 times a week. And I think it's just how I'm disciplined. I've always been that way with my work ethic, and I know that I need to stay active to keep engagement going, to keep people entertained. So that's what I do.
And this is your full-time job?
Yes. it's
Wow.
full-time.
And so,
so jealous.
But I know. And so, okay, just for people who, and you're getting paid like with views, right? Is it you get paid through views, you get paid through
brand partnerships. I've worked with Mattel, Hot Wheels, Psycho Bunny, Sam's Club, all different brands that are either retailers or connected to not necessarily Lego, but building block sets with Mattel or apparel companies. So that's a big chunk too.
And full disclosure, I'm a big Lego fan.
Yes.
Nothing like your collection, but I've got a few. And I was talking to someone who is also really into Lego, and they said that they saw you at an event. So do you go to like Lego events or anything like that?
Well, so I've been to a couple. I meant to go to Brick World this year, but there was an overlap with my schedule. But that's definitely something I plan to.
And people know
to
you,
do
right?
more. Yeah, people do. I've gotten recognized around here a number of times.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. And the thing too is, I don't think I mentioned, but you asked like how I knew to make things effective.
Yeah.
For about 8 to 9 years, I ran a social media business in the music space, but I had millions of followers between a number of accounts, but that's where I got a lot of expertise and experience on
Yeah.
how to make videos do well.
Well, we went to your house the other day. We have some video of that I think we want to show now. Photographer Juan came out to interview you. Let's
Yeah.
take a listen to some of that.
I'm at Target to buy the Pyramid of Giza Lego set. Decisions. And here it is.
We got it.
Another week, another Lego. New Lego getter
So they can
today.
hear it. We can't hear it, but they
Today, we're doing another architecture set. Time to sort the bags. We've got the bags all organized. Here's the booklet. It's 170 pages.
What kind of a camera do you use?
My phone.
I've never been to Egypt before. This is basically the same.
And
So these are some of your posts that I thought we were going to toss to the other one, but this is you building. So for people who are wondering, you do these really quickly. And I built that. I have that one too. I built it, and I didn't realize that there was a second part you can add onto the back of it to make it a full pyramid.
You can buy just a second set and just kind of combine them together and make it.
Lego knows they know what they're doing.
I've been intending to do that. I've been intending to.
And this one got 7 million plus views.
This was one of my first few videos too. I uploaded this in July, and I'm actually in Illinois when I filmed this at my parents' house.
You tell them I got to go to work.
Yeah, I know. I went to the Target near there, and I built that.
And I asked you, I don't know if they heard me or not, but I asked you kind of off camera. You are just using your phone This is not a huge camera that you're using.
No,
to
and that's the
record
thing.
this.
People, I mean, I know that a lot of people will have barriers. I feel like there's barriers to entry to make videos and to get into this. And like, no, you just need a phone. And I didn't get a mic until 4 months ago.
Wow.
You know, like that one that got 7 million views, there was no microphone.
And
It
what
was my
editing
phone.
program are you using?
I use CapCut.
Okay.
That's more than enough that I need.
So what would you tell people who may be watching right now who are like us, man, thinking you figured out a way to do something you love,
right?
Get paid to do it in a space that is really kind of crowded. How do you? What would you tell people if they were like thinking about doing something?
The biggest thing to me is just one, putting yourself out there, because I had no videos of myself online.
And you said you were kind of shy, right?
Yeah, I was definitely shy. So before I made that first video, I was like freaking out. Like I'm like, but I realized if it doesn't do well, no one saw it. But if it does do well and everyone saw it. You know, it did well. So, you know, what is there to really worry about? But the biggest thing too is just like I said before, discipline and consistency. I mean, I think that a lot of people give up after, you know, a few weeks or a month and whatnot. I mean, there's been ups and downs through my journey. And it's always easy to, you know, get discouraged. But that's the most important thing, is to know that you just have to keep pushing through it. And there's like, it's cyclical.
Yeah.
Well,
like
and now it is your full-time job. So you look at it, this is your,
you're the boss.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I know that no one's holding me accountable except for myself.
I noticed as part of your collection, you got the Titanic, which is like 9,000 plus pieces. How long did that take? Did you do by yourself?
That one, I did it by myself. That one took me about 35 hours
Wow.
to do. That's one of the longer ones, along with the Eiffel Tower.
Will you give yourself a stopping time if you're going too long, or will you just sit there and like that Eiffel Tower is huge, right?
Yeah.
Would you
Yeah, I think I built that in like 4 days, and it was like 8 hours a day. Pretty much, you know.
That's your job.
Yeah. Well, actually, when I built that, it wasn't my job.
Okay.
So I think it was around Christmas time when I built it.
Yeah.
So I just had a lot of free time, and I just sat down and grinded it out.
It is amazing though how the popularity of it has just grown. I mean, like during the pandemic, it certainly picked up, and now, I mean, we do stories on how stores are getting robbed because of these Lego sets.
Right.
They're worth so much money. It's
The value
unbelievable.
it definitely appreciates year over year if they're retired sets. And I think the thing Lego did too is they expertly repositioned from just, you know, a children's toy that they always were looked as to adults. And that was a change in reframing the packaging and releasing, you know, architecture sets and all different types of things and just bigger. And they say, you know, 18 plus, 16 plus, they put on the boxes to be like adults welcome.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and they're coming out with so many new ones too. I think also probably because of social media, you'll see these things. Like sometimes I'll see something and I'm like, I don't need that, but I want that. You know?
Yeah.
And now, you know, a lot of stores are selling Legos now. Lego places like Best Buy will have them.
Yeah.
Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble's huge.
So yeah, gotta keep myself
Secret
out of
tip,
there.
Barnes and Noble's like, a lot of
Really?
people don't know.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
like better than Target, better than
They have
Walmart.
great stuff there.
Yeah.
I know.
Really?
That's why I'm trying to keep myself away from there, because it's like going for a book and spend a couple $100.
They have a ton of sets that I don't see it like anywhere else besides the Lego store.
Oh wow, like the one in Scottsdale?
Yeah,
or-
the one right off of Shea and the
101,
Yeah, that one's a
yeah.
bit.
So they see you coming, right? They're like,
Yeah,
oh,
they
here
see
comes
me
Harrison.
coming. They're like, you sure you want to buy like three Lego sets? I'm like, let's do it.
So what's next for you? Do you keep the content going as long as the sets keep
keeping
coming
the
out?
content going. I'm planning to continue to just build my community a little bit closer. I'm going to release a Discord channel where I can be a little more interactive and personal with everyone that follows me and everyone that wants to be in. I also I'm just going to continue to do Lego, but also I want to expand to more car content and more, because I know that that's something people love to see. And when I'm not uploading it, they're just like, where's this car? Where's that? You know,
And when you've got the audience there,
Yeah.
you know, you've got to keep them wanting more. That's
absolutely.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, I mean, what does your family think of all of this? I mean, because I would imagine too, you know, when you say, hey, I'm doing this full time, I'm sure they're very proud of you now because you are able to do it full time. But at first, when you were like, hey, I think I'm going to do this full time, what did they think?
Yeah, I was actually, they're watching right now.
Hi, say hi.
But yeah, so I
Were they
told
a
them
little concerned at first?
I
or
was
were they-
working a job in insurance
Okay.
actually. For that I worked there for a couple years, and once this had started to take off, it was in like I think August of last year. I was just itching to switch from that job, and
Yeah.
I was like, I know that this can be something.
Okay.
And they were supportive. They've seen what I've done in the past
Yeah.
with my other businesses.
You also
that I've
built
done.
that one up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so they were confident it wasn't too much pushback.
Now, I've
Yeah.
noticed, and maybe I'm wrong, I haven't watched all of your videos, but it doesn't seem like you review the set, do you? You just
I've
kind of
had a
build it
couple
and-
videos like that, but it's more of just, you know,
You
while
build
I'm
it?
building it, I
Yeah.
point out the cool things and I show it at the end. I'm not an in-depth review.
And that's how you
guy.
keep them short.
Yeah, and that's just not where I wanted to position
Yeah.
myself.
And
either.
also, I think I know everyone's attention spans are so short now.
Right,
You know?
right.
Like Ellen was mentioning, I've tried to sit through some of these that are like half an hour. It's like when you look up a recipe and they give you before the recipe, like this whole story. I'm like, I just want to get to the recipe.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, the quick clicks keep everyone engaged.
Yeah.
Everyone loves ASMR now and
Right.
all those sounds.
Yeah,
so
and I
that's
think
Yeah.
you kind of were the first one that I saw doing that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Do you find people are now trying to copy you at all? Or?
Oh, totally. I'll see it, but it's always like, I mean,
It's a
if it
community.
works, the thing I always say too is if it's working for someone else, you know, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just do something similar and put your own spin on it. You know,
Yeah.
that usually works too. So
Well, Harrison, we really appreciate you being here. You might have inspired some people out there
Yeah.
to
I hope
take
so.
up something that they love and try to make a business out of it. I mean, 15 million views on your first one. That's probably like lightning in a bottle. But
Real quick, just say your handles real quick.
yeah, so my TikTok is at HDubs, HDUBS, and then my Instagram is at H_Dubs_.
okay,
Yeah.
great. Well, we
Awesome.
really appreciate meeting
Yeah,
you.
thanks for having me.